Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ever Games YouTube channel. This is the life and suffering of Sir Brante. In the previous episode we had really a highlight, having sex with Octavia in the throne room on the ancestral throne of the Melanides dynasty. I don't know how I'm gonna top this in this playthrough. That's probably the best episode out there. In any case, I'm back at work now. Another day in the office at the prefecture, sweating down. After hours of paperwork, your fingers are cramped, your vision blurred. Today you must finish incorporating the new decrees of the Great Imperial Council into the Magran Code of Law. The document will be sent to the Overseer. A knock at the door distracts you. Your visitor is someone you were not expecting to see. Mayor Egmont enters your office. He's the wealthiest man in Magra, the owner of the silver mines, and the leader of the wealthy commoners' party in the Lesser Quorum. He wears a high-priced frock coat made of light grey fabric. He wears no jewelry, but his coat is richly embroidered, the most luxury a commoner can ever afford. Egmont offers you a broad, suntanned hand. It's hard, work-weary, and eternally calloused. This is a man who has earned his fortune with the sweat of his brow. Good afternoon, Judge Brante. We met recently about that newspaper business, but today I need to discuss a different matter with you. I came to talk to you on behalf of the manufacturers of Magra. As you know, the principal source of income in the province is the silver mines. Our mines provide silver for the sacramental rites conducted in temples all over the empire. The upper vein of ore is nearly exhausted. We need to process new deposits that are lower down. That's where our trouble with the law comes into play. In order to get to the deeper layers of ore, we need gunpowder. But a decree from the Great Imperial Council has forbidden common people from using it. Back in the capital, they're afraid we'll turn that gunpowder into a weapon. This restriction will harm not only the manufacturers and the miners, but the province as a whole. The silver trade will decline. We won't have enough money to buy grain. Soon even the nobility will be impoverished. I know that you, the judges of the prefecture, are the ones who interpret the decrees from the capital, so I implore you, Sir Brante, to come to the aid of the honest tradesmen of Magra. Pass an amendment allowing the use of gunpowder in the silver mines. You give Egmont a speculative glance and ask him why he has asked you specifically for help. I've been following your decisions for quite some time, Your Honor. They give me hope. I don't agree with you on everything, but we seem to see eye to eye on the essentials. Common estate needs to get real rights. It's the only way for our province and for the empire as a whole. Sure, Prefect El Borne has proclaimed as much as himself, but unfortunately he's a nobleman of the sword first and foremost. He's bound by the blood tide, by the power of the Overseer and the Arknians, so all his undertakings are doomed to failure. And you, Sir Brante, you truly care for the people. You need some powerful allies among the lowborn, allies like me. Do this for me. Together we'll change the fate of Magra. Egmont extends his hand, hope in his eyes. You take your time before answering, weighing his words carefully. Ooh boy, oh boy. If we refuse, Mayor Egmont is -2, okay? If we agree, the province's wealth goes up by 2, justice goes up by 2, wealth of the family goes up by 1, and we gain relationship with Mayor Egmont. There's actually no negatives here, so why wouldn't I take this? You take his hand. Egmont gives you a strong handshake. You tell him that you share his apprehension and understand that silver is crucial to the province. You promise to amend the law so that the restrictions do not apply to silver mines. Thank you, Randolph Brante. Nobles who care about the needs of the common folk are few and far between. This is what nobility really means. I share your belief that only a union of the estates will lead the empire to order and prosperity. You can count on my support. Silver is the lifeblood of Magra. Today, you've not only saved us all from ruin, you've also made every Magran a little bit richer, yourself included. I'll make sure the Brantes get a share of the profits, yeah, you better. And I promise you, Brante, this gunpowder will shatter those ancient rock formations and reveal their hidden treasure to us all. Nice, so Magra became affluent. Commoners are protected. Okay, we need to be careful here. We're almost at Commoners seize power. I mentioned I don't want that. Moderate, okay. Would be nice to gain more wealth with the family. A debacle in the shop. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. If justice is higher than 8, okay. Your tenure as a judge has yielded considerable results. More and more often, common people come to the prefecture to assert their rights, and succeed in doing so. Some local villagers have even started coming to seek the court's protection. All over the province, there is talk that a new era has come, and that the law is in fact the same for all. This morning on your way to the prefecture, you anticipate a peaceful day, full of paperwork, but as soon as you enter your office, El Borne rushes in after you. Don't sit down, Brante, you've been assigned an urgent investigation. This morning a tradeswoman, old Mrs. Steiner, came to the prefecture with her 2 grandchildren. She demands that we punish Sir Verger for setting fire to her shop and trying to rob her. Well, the Steiners had just finished writing up the complaint when Verger himself came bursting in. He immediately sued the Steiners for his own murder. Huh? I've come to warn you, Brante. Even though the Steiners were acting in self-defense, you still have to find in favor of Verger. You're surprised to hear this from El Borne. Seeing your perplexed look, the prefect frowns. I think this is the first typo I find in the game. And seeing how much text there is, I mean, that's quite impressive. I'll explain. Before, low-born shopkeepers like the Steiners wouldn't have dreamed of suing a nobleman. Everything was always decided in favor of the nobility, as you may recall. But now the law has more power. Our efforts have not been in vain. However, now we're talking about the murder of a nobleman by commoners. I'm afraid these changes have been too drastic. Governing elite of the province are watching our every step. Justifying the murder of a nobleman would be going too far. The overseer and the magistrate might well decide that it's time to take back the common people's rights. Can't let that happen, Randolph. Court's in session, you're presiding over the Board of Justice. One bench is occupied by the somber Maximilian Verger. His papers state that he's a nobleman of the sword living off his estate. He strokes the pommel of his sword nervously, breathes heavily, ready to explode in a fit of rage. On the other bench you see the Steiners, the low-born owners of a well-known jewelry store. Anne Steiner, a short-wizened woman wrapped in several layers of dark silk, looks defiantly at Verger. Her 2 grandchildren stand silently behind her, their faces impassive. My squad noticed the fire at the Steiners' shop. We stormed in, saw those Steiners standing over the dead body of Sir Verger, watching it crumble to dust. The old woman shouted that she had to go to the prefecture, so we brought her and her grandchildren here, and Sir Verger suffered a lesser death before our very eyes. Miscreants! Those low-born scum killed me! You sternly called the nobleman to order. Order in this courtroom! The commoners will speak first. Sir Verger showed up at our shop at dawn and started banging on the door. We opened, despite him being completely drunk. Scarcely able to stand on his feet, he demanded to see our pearls. Well, what could I do? I showed them to him. Then he started sweeping our pearls right into his own pockets. I tell him those pearls are not free, sir, but he draws a sword. I'm a nobleman, he says. Everything should be free for me. Such as your lot, he yells. Your lot is to work for me. Well, I explained that the pearls cost 20 coins. So he takes a lit lamp and smashes it on the floor. And then he charges at me with a sword. My grandchildren came to my rescue. They went and pushed him. They used no weapon, naturally. Sir Verger hit his temple against a showcase and fell. We came to see how he was, but he was already dying. We didn't kill him. His own anger did. So I didn't come here to confess to murder, but to ask you, Your Honor, to protect our family against this bloodsucker. We had a hard time putting the fire in the shop out after what that rascal did. You ungrateful old hag, you should have been delighted that I was taking your pearls. All of high society would have seen them. You're a blasphemer too, not knowing your lot. The lowborn must not contradict us nobles, it's forbidden. I know my lot. I'm supposed to command. So I'm in my right when I take what I want from the rebel, and his honor, the judge, will agree with me. Oof. Your honor, I appeal to you, one nobleman to another. Simply an outrage for the rebel to behave like this. Those little shopkeepers took my first life from me, the heir to the Verger legacy. Demand that these Steiners be hanged at once, or burned at the stake, since they followed the heresy of Fotis. Only the heretics deny their lot. There is commotion in the courtroom. Those who came to support the Steiners are infuriated by the nobleman's words. Verger's noble friends frantically demand that the lowborn be silenced. You call the court to order, but to no avail. The room will not calm down until you deliver your verdict. You rub your temple. If you manage to acquit the old lady, it will set a precedent for the entire empire. The lowborn have never had the right to defend themselves with force against one another, let alone the nobles. You have the increased influence of the prefecture on your side. You could even try to legalize the right of the common people of Magra to defend their lives, but such a daring move will not succeed without the support of powerful people. You remember El Borne's warning. What would be the consequences of your decision for the common folk of Anizadi? Should you acquit the Steiners? Can you? Wow, okay. So we can't grant the right to self-defense because we don't have the patronage of the powerful. So if in the previous episode we would have chosen to become the plaything of Octavia, we would have this patronage, but I don't now. I can acquit the Steiners, that tanks my career, justice +2 and eloquence +1, or I can punish the Steiners. Justice goes down with 2, diplomacy goes up, and I gain willpower. Yeah, I need more willpower, so I'm gonna punish the Steiners here. The law must defend the rights of the noblemen who suffered a lesser debt. Curtly and unemotionally, you deliver your verdict. The very same verdict the majority of people in the courtroom were expecting. Verger's demand will be satisfied. The Steiners committed the murder of a nobleman. Their guilt is undeniable. Whether Verger attacked them or not is of no consequence. A commoner may not raise his hand against a nobleman. The 3 of them will be hanged this very day. We never expected anything good from the upper class before, so why start now? I've heard plenty of talk about your justice, but nothing's really changed. Shame on you, Judge. The trial is over. The old woman and her grandchildren are taken away, prepared for the execution. Verger lifts his head politely and leaves. On your way out, you meet El Borne. The prefect follows you with a look of understanding. You spent the rest of the day pacing your office mindlessly. This trying day is finally at an end. So, I mean, justice is at 7, commoners are still protected, right? Our diplomacy is at 20, or probably beyond 20 already. And we have 10 willpower. The guns of Illyria in the year 1141. Magra has received alarming news from the neighboring province of Illyria. The low-born convicts toiling in the Illyrian mines have revolted against their noble masters. For the first time in many long peaceful years, commoners have taken up arms. Worst yet, the insurgents had guns and gunpowder. No one knows how they got them. Whoops. Gunpowder weapons were banned throughout the empire as soon as they were invented. The lords deemed firearms dishonorable and unfit for the nobles. Even legion soldiers are forbidden from using them. But now gunshots were echoing through the mutinous Illyrian mines. The Imperial Legion was deployed to quell the riot. The legionnaires slaughtered the rebels without mercy, and the uprising choked to death on its own blood before it's even begun. The south of Illyria is now a forest of gallows. Convicts' corpses were left swaying in the wind as a warning to any commoners who might dare to take up arms. Although the rebellion quickly succumbed to the Imperial military's onslaught, many Legion soldiers and officers were slain by the insurgents' firearms. Their steel armor was no match for bullets. The rioters' weapons were destroyed in a public ceremony, but no one knows who built or smuggled them into the mines. All imperial overseers soon issued public reminders in the provinces. The punishment for owning gunpowder weapon is true death by execution. The Empire is still restless, still anxious. Somehow guns found their way into commoners' hands, if only for a short time. Could gunpowder and lead one day endanger the old ways of the Empire? It sure could. Authorities of Magra fear that unrest may soon spill over here. Due to the double tax, peasant farms and industrial manufactories are facing harsh times. Province's wealth is steadily declining. No, it's not. I've been taking care of that. It's increasing even. But the discontent of the commoners is still held back by the eternal lot that demand they accept their suffering. Well, at least it was a bit higher. You arrive at the office one fine morning and find a visitor already sitting there. The visitor is none other than Tommas Guerrero. His heavy uniform already bears captain's chevrons. Tommas looks nervous, his fingers drumming a foreboding staccato on the desk. Why has your old friend decided to pay you a visit? You pat your friend on the shoulder and congratulate him on his promotion. Tommas shrugs, quietly brimming with pride. I got bumped up a month ago. Apparently the Legion is running short on decent officers. Then I realized why there are so few of them. Wish I knew my direct superior was gonna be our very own Commander OTTON. Tommas grows grim at the mention of OTTON. Listen buddy, you and me, we always help each other out, right? That Arknian bastard, well, he challenged me to a duel. For the second time. He cut me down a month ago. That was my second lesser death. Ouch. I know I never told you, but it was tough. The gods, they spoke to me there, in the hereafter. But right now I got something worse to worry about in matters of the soul. See, OTTON, he remembers me from the time at the academy when I stood up to him at the party. Now he's gonna kill me again and again until my true death comes. So it's a duel, that's OTTON's way of having fun with his subordinates. Randolph, I'm asking you as a friend, will you be my second at the duel? I know Prefect El Borne doesn't like any kind of sword fighting. It's one of the old traditions he wants to put a stop to. But if I show up without a second, he won't just kill me for a third time, he'll dishonor me too. You knit your brow in thought. In the Prefect's opinion, dueling is a lawless tool of noble tyranny. El Borne sees duels as an outmoded way of circumventing the legal system. He would be crushed to learn that one of his judges has been involved in a duel. Tommas sighs heavily. I know this is hard, pal, but I've got no one else to turn to. All the boys in the Legion fear OTTON like the plague. You're the only noble who can support me in this. I know this duel won't be the end. Our great Sir OTTON will find an excuse for a third duel before you know it. That'll be my last one for sure. Tommas rolls up the sleeve of his uniform. 2 pitch black lines encircle his forearm. He's desperate, and it's easy to see why. One-on-one against an Arknian swordsman, he's doomed. The law forbids dueling, but if you refuse to show Tommas your support, through your presence, your friend's spirit will be broken before his body can even be killed. You recall all the previous encounters with OTTON in your youth. Is there a chance the distinguished Arknian still remembers you? If you go to him and speak in Tommas's defense, will he even bother to listen? Oh man! So I cannot decline because I have the bond of friendship with Tommas. I cannot stop the duel from taking place because my manipulation is not high enough. So I need to agree to be Tommas's second. El Borne is not gonna like that, but hey, it's what it is. You've been best friends with Tommas ever since you were little boys. Does he really think you would abandon him to such a cruel fate? Of course you'll be his second at the duel, no matter what. Your friendship will not be broken, not even if you risk Prefect El Borne's displeasure. As the two of you walk to the palace ruins, you finally have time to ask Tommas for more information. What was OTTON's excuse for challenging him to a duel this time? Here's what happened. OTTON told me to head to a nearby village with a squad of Legion soldiers. Solmina it's called. The villagers refused to pay the Archduke's tax. Said they already paid the tax to Gaius Tempus's men. He's the overseer, so the law says the tax is his. So OTTON told me and the lads to string up a couple of the rowdiest peasants, put their houses to the torch to teach the rest of them a lesson. So we went there, and let me tell you buddy, I didn't join the Legion to start hanging people and burning villages, so we decided to have a word with the village elder first. The locals soon realized what was going on. Losing money is one thing, but losing a spare life is worse. They hemmed and hawed and finally found enough cash to pay Archduke Melanides. Which means we came back to Anisotti with nobody dead and all the money for his treasury. Then the commander summons me and claims I didn't follow his orders. Which means I also slighted the honor of the noble Arknian, who's my commander. And so he challenges me to a duel. And you know what? I'm not the first, Randolph. And I'm not the last. Any officer in the Legion could end up like me. OTTON does as he sees fit. No plans to stop. He's a commander, he's a noble of the sword, he's an Arknian. We're just dirt under his boot. Who's gonna rein him in? You reach the site of the duel just before dawn. By a half-crumpled wall, you see a tall figure clad in thick cloak. Dorius OTTON, High Commander of Magra, already expecting you. His azure fingers drum impatiently on the pommel of his sword. Tommas dutifully bows to his commander. OTTON grimaces at him. You're late, Captain Guerra. Why should I have to wait for you? You've insulted me again already. And who's this? Seen your face before. Anyway, don't have time for this, make haste. I've other duels today. The commander's second appears from the shadows, a young nobleman, quiet and eager to oblige his betters. As seconds, you ask the duelists if they're ready. Without a word, OTTON draws his sword. Tommas nods anxiously, clearly ready to face another death. The two bow ceremoniously and adopt a dueling stance. The difference between them is apparent as soon as they begin. OTTON's sword seems like an extension of his arm. Tommas pales before him like a clumsy child who has grabbed father's sword for the first time. Everything about this battle shows that OTTON treats this duel as no more than entertainment. The Arknian moves around so rapidly and gracefully your friend can barely defend himself against a flurry of strikes. Then for the smallest moment OTTON tones down in assault, and for the first time during the duel Tommas makes a riposte. Easily, effortlessly, OTTON deflects Tommas's blow, and then he retaliates. The sword sticks through your friend's shoulder. As soon as you see the blade through blood, you shout out for the duel to end. The debt for the insult has been paid in blood. If the loser of the duel is ready to offer his apology, the fight must stop. What? Is some human trying to teach me the laws of the duel? I'm an Arknian of the OTTON dynasty. There is no one here who can teach me the ways of honor. His sword flashes, stabs your friend straight through the heart. A wet red spot begins to spread across Tommas's shirt. Your friend stumbles backwards, he drops his sword, his knees buckle. A wheeze, another, then a cough full of blood, and his bright eyes grow dim and dull. Slowly, Tommas's body disappears, his blood-stained clothes, his sword, his footsteps and the dust are all that remain. OTTON hands his sword to his second, who's ready to wipe it down. Well then, that pitiful human will face another duel very soon. Let's hope he fights better during his last life. When your friend is reborn, tell him my exact words. The Arknian walks away, calm and composed, his second in tow. Dazed and numb, all he can do now is gather your friend's belongings and bring them to his house. Unless you intervene, Tommas is doomed to meet his true death soon. You're a judge, but to an Arknian of such rank and birth, your authority means nothing. Is there any way you can help your friend? Well, here we go, the case against OTTON. The day of your meeting with Tommas, time slows to crawl. As you examine one case after another, you cannot help but think back to your friend and his fate again and again. There's a knock at the door. Baron El Borne, the prefect, has decided to pay you a visit. I have a matter to discuss with you, Brante. Would you mind if we take a walk? It's getting a bit stuffy in here. The prefect clearly wants to discuss something in private. You walk down the stairs together, leave the prefecture. Soon the two of you are walking down the noisy streets of the Brass district. The wind is strong today, grey sky mercifully overcast. The people around you are bartering, buying, selling eagerly. Streets are full of craftsmen, factory workers, Merchant carts squeak as they roll down the streets. That of the prefecture looks more worried than usual, lost in thought as he observes the bustling street life around him. Brante, do you recall how we talked about the tyranny of the nobility in the province? Dorius OTTON, the High Commander of Magra, is on a murderous spree. He challenges his subordinates to a duel for the slightest infraction and slaughters them with impunity. If our law is unable to protect anyone from the violent tyranny of the Arknians, who will ever respect the law? It's time we put an end to this. As long as I'm in charge of the prefecture, establishing the rule of law over people of all estates and titles is our most important task. But people like OTTON stand in our way. People who think themselves above the law. We need to prove them wrong. I've been informed that OTTON has pressured your childhood friend, Captain Tommas Guerrero, into a duel. And I believe Sir Guerrero has sought your assistance in private, am I right? You admit that this is so. Indeed, as an old friend, Tommas is counting on you to defend him. And so, young Brante, I believe that to be reason enough to entrust this case to you officially. If you find yourself doubting your abilities, know that you are my best candidate. No other judge would have the courage to prosecute an Arknian. That, and I trust you more than any ordinary judge. Spoke to your father, but even he would not accept this undertaking. He says your family has worked too hard to be ennobled by the sword to risk it all now. You bear no such burden, do you? Yes I do. As it stands right now, sentencing an Arknian to even the smallest punishment is unthinkable. But drop by drop water can wear down any stone. We will make our way to OTTON, but we must do it slowly and carefully. What we need is a perfectly prepared case. We need you to find enough incontrovertible evidence and enough witnesses who are willing to testify in court. Yeah, that's gonna happen. But I'm sure you realize that even this won't be enough to force an Arknian to go to trial, don't you, Randolph? We have to change the unspoken rules in our city and province. We'll start with lower-ranking people, lower-ranking cases, and little by little, we'll establish rules that even highborn nobles will have to obey. All of a sudden, El Borne stops. Standing in the middle of a street bustling with life, he points out the number of commoners hurrying about their business. Just look. All these people need to know that there is still such a thing as justice. The law must apply to all of them, no matter their lot, whether suffering, praying, or ruling. They need to know they can rely on us judges to enforce the law against anyone and everyone. Counting on you on this, Sir Brante. You stand motionless as El Borne studies you intently. From now on, from this moment forth, you will prosecute a case against the High Commander of Magra, a highborn Arknian from an ancient dynasty. This is a pivotal moment in your destiny and your career. You could rise higher than ever, or plunge into obscurity and ruin. You decide to talk about Tommas. Right now, he represents your best chance at getting OTTON indicted, but there is absolutely no guarantee he will live to speak at trial. If you are to oversee this case, ensuring his safety has to be the first thing you do. You're right, Brante. We need Tommas Guerrero to see this to the end. But remember, this is about more than just your friend and his fate. This is a matter of law and justice for the entire province. The peril to Sir Tommas's life is great indeed, but if you openly defy the High Commander right now, your standing will suffer accordingly. You could find a safe shelter for Sir Tommas away from OTTON, but if Tommas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for OTTON's other victims. I realize you're looking for a way to rescue your friend, but right now we must use all caution, lest our entire cause suffer. What say you, Randolph? What's your plan? Oh boy! So, we cannot convince Tommas to leave the Legion because our wealth is not high enough. Or no, because of some relationship issue? We can send Tommas out of Anazotti, that my career goes down, willpower goes down, and Tommas Guerrero is in hiding. We can have Tommas taken into custody, the family reputation goes down, scheming goes up, and Tommas is in hiding. And we can let Tommas roam freely, which improves my career, but Tommas stays in danger, and my relationship with him goes down. I don't want to ruin my career, and I don't want to ruin the family reputation. So I need to let Tommas be in danger for now. That sucks. You informed the Prefect that observing Tommas without interference would be the best course of action right now. The time to counter OTTON with decisive action has not yet come. You must not put the entire cause at risk just to save one man, even if that man is a key witness. In all honesty, Brante, I have to admit you're right. We can only hope Sir Tommas has what it takes to fend for himself. For now, the course of action should keep your position as a judge safe and secure, without drawing the ire of the high nobility. We should get back to work, begin preparing the case at once. Back at the office, you send a note to Tommas's address, a brief request to visit you at the prefecture as soon as possible. He returns to your office that evening. You've not seen him for just one day, but he looks a decade older. It pains you to see him so downcast. You explain the situation to him, carefully choosing your words. OTTON is well on his way towards being punished for his crimes. You're building a case against the High Commander of Magra, but you need evidence to prove OTTON's guilt, and you hope Tommas will help you find it. You're going to do everything you can to stop OTTON's murderous rampage, but you have neither the authority nor the connection to protect Tommas at present. Your friend will have to be prepared to fend for himself. Tommas hunches over, his exhaustion showing, and gazes at you dully. Just taking on a case against that Arknian means a lot to me. I agree to bear witness. Do whatever you can. Life goes on, I'll go back to the Legion and do all I can to stay out of OTTON's way. I'll be fine. Tommas shakes your hand. It takes him a significant effort to rise from his seat and walk out the door. You remain in your chair, deep in thought. Your friend is still in danger. When will OTTON be reminded of his existence next? At least your own position is safe for now. Yeah, future prefect would be nice, but I doubt my career will go a lot higher than 5. The road to the top. If my career reaches 5 and I'm not branded by dishonor, your actions result in well-earned progress up the professional ladder. You're expected to have a glorious future in the field of law. You receive more and more invitations to balls and noble gatherings. High-ranking nobles wish to befriend you. Powerful people have been keeping a close eye on your ascent. Today, a personal letter from the magistrate Remy El Vermin is delivered to your home. Sir Randolph Brante, I would like to further our acquaintance and discuss certain matters over a glass of Elirian. I will expect you at my estate this afternoon. Accompanied by servants, you walk down the imposing enfilade of Sir El Vermin's granite manor. Gold, tapestry, stone carvings of ancestors' profiles. Compared to the luxury, your own home seems tiny and cramped. El Vermin greets you by the fire. At home, the influential ruler of the city seems peaceful and amiable. Just Brante, pray come in. Delighted to see you again. Servants, pour us some wine. Please have some, Randolph. Though your most recent deeds call for much more than a glass of Elirian. I'll be frank. After our first encounter, I had my doubts about your trustworthiness. Now you've proven by your actions that you have a future. You sip the wine. It's excellent as expected. You calmly reply that you strive to serve the Empire and the Prefecture faithfully and in a manner you deem proper. I am overjoyed to see that the younger generation honors our traditions and cares about the fate of our nation. We have that in common, you and I. Many see me merely power-hungry, but why would power itself be of interest to me? My family is already powerful and wealthy. Its position is secure for many generations to come. No, my friends. I need power to save the city that has been entrusted to me from a grave threat. Take a look around. More and more insurgents are preparing a bloody uprising. Among the common folk, the new fate compels people to defy their lots. Foundations of the Empire has been shaken. What do you think? Will a new world be born from this? Those who hope to see this happen seem to have forgotten that our world was created in accordance with the twins' design. We're already on the cusp of provoking their wrath. El Vermin is becoming truly incensed. Apparently the fate of the Empire is not just a subject of idle chatter to him. You must understand, Brante. I've seen plenty of starry-eyed idealists yearning to change the world. and I know where those dreams lead. We've trespassed against the sacred order. Now we're on the verge of the wrath of the gods. I'm a nobleman and a citizen of the Empire, and it's my duty to save this world from ruin. While the Overseer and the Archduke persist in their futile squabble, the danger is growing. It's time to take matters into our own hands. I'm seeking allies, people who will stand by my side to protect the city and the Empire. I hope you have the courage to become one of us. Let me speak plainly. Prefect El Borne is, alas, among those who are dragging us towards our destruction. He aims to subject all estates to the tyranny of the law. He seems to have forgotten that the law must serve the good of the Empire and be a mainstay of order. But El Borne wishes to disrupt this order. He's pushing for the Lowborn to gain power. What do you suppose will be the first thing that they do when they get it? They'll take up arms and destroy this country. El Borne has doomed himself to a shameful fall. Meanwhile, the city needs someone at the helm of the prefecture who's bound by honor, concerned about the fate of the Empire. You can be that someone, Brante. You stare at your glass of wine, trying to hide your feelings. If you prove yourself worthy in the future, Sir Brante, I can promise you the post of Prefect of Magra. I hope you see it not only as a chance to elevate yourself, but also to make your mark on history. Side with me and together we'll save Anizotti from the uprising. If you remain El Borne's servant, you both will lose and fall together. Wow, okay. Well, this meeting is not gonna go as planned. I can't agree with him. There goes the patronage of the powerful again. This would have given my career a +3 and justice +1. Damn, this would have been very interesting. If I protect my family, my career goes down by 1. If I protect my career, the family reputation goes down by 1. So I need to protect my family. I told you my career wasn't going a lot higher than 5. I knew that was gonna happen. Silence. Silence! I'll kill you! You hold the magistrate's heavy stare and respond calmly that you are not prepared to make any promises. You thank El Vermin for his trust, but you are a judge of the prefecture. You've already have a superior. El Vermin frowns, shakes his head disdainfully, and rises from his chair. Very sorry to hear that, Sir Brante. I had high hopes for you. Could have achieved so much together. Soon you'll see that you've chosen the wrong side. Farewell. Back at home, you describe your conversation with the magistrate to your father. El Vermin's threatening tone is alarming. An enemy as powerful as the magistrate could turn the nobility of Anizotti against your family. Proud of you for staying loyal to our friend El Borne. The magistrate is a dirty schemer who's only using his talk of honor and protecting the Empire as cover. Don't worry about the family. I'll make sure to talk to the noble families of the city in advance, in order to get ahead of the magistrate's plot. Hopefully this will be enough to protect our reputation against the slander. Your father's efforts to thwart El Vermin's schemes have been successful so far, but the feud with the magistrate has a damaging effect on your career. The documents you prepare take weeks to be signed. Obtaining an audience or arranging a meeting is frequently impossible. You hear anxious whispers behind your back. Randolph Brante crossed the ruler of the city. Steer clear of him. The procession to the tree. A holy day is coming, a day when the entire Empire thanks the twins for the silver tree, the sign they left behind as a reminder of their eternal presence in this world. This momentous occasion is especially important for Anizotti, but the clergy cannot agree on how best to celebrate. Father Leonard has called for all worshippers of the twins to approach the Temple of the Silver Tree, kneel before the sacred relic, but the old clergy balks at the idea of Leonard and the new believers leading the ritual. The day has come. An immense crowd is moving in a procession towards the temple near the Silver Tree where Father Leonard awaits. But an inquisitor by the name of Jean stands in their way. She strikes a defiant pose. Confronted by a member of the Holy Order of the Inquisition, the procession reluctantly stops. People turn back. Those who attend Leonard's rite will succumb to the new fate. Those who reject the lots will defy their divine design. You're about to bring the wrath of the gods down upon us all. Open your eyes, go back to your homes, and pray to the twins. The procession wants to move, but the people are confused, until Father Leonard himself walks out of the temple to meet Jean face to face. People of Erizotti, no one has the right to deny you the sacred ritual of worshipping at the tree, not even the Inquisition. Is such a denial not more likely to provoke the wrath of the twins? The Inquisition must know that the new faith does not seek to challenge or defy the twins. We are merely trying to correct the mistakes of those who came before us. We do not anger the twins, we merely vex those who refuse to accept the dawn of a new age. Jean finds herself between a rock and a hard place. Seeing that she has no other choice, she lets the procession pass. The new faith's numbers have swelled of late. Cannot be stopped now. Well, it keeps going up and down here between all the new faith. I'm wondering if I had chosen like a priest, whether that would have been more pronounced in one or the other direction. Today is an important holiday. The entire empire is celebrating the Festival of the Silver Tree, which commemorates the parting gift of the twin gods, the divine sapling they planted in our mortal world in the middle of Erizotti. The families of the city spent the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join together all people, their bloodlines, and the entire empire. Mother always oversees this holiday. The day before the festival, she seems to have shaken off her usual apathy and engaged in preparations with excitement. It was as though her illness has loosened its grip. Mother gathers the entire family for the holiday meal. Father is in high spirits today, sharing jokes with you and Nathan. Stefan is trying to suppress an atypical agitation. Gloria is the last to join you at the table. She's wearing new breeches with high stockings and a yellow vest. Gloria, you're wearing men's clothes again? No, Mother. I'm wearing clothes women are forbidden to wear. Father gives Gloria a stern look. Stefan rolls his eyes but says nothing. Suddenly Nathan speaks up. Oh no. A few days ago in the market I saw a grocer dressed as Overseer Gaius Tempest. He had a huge carrot for a scepter. He got a sound drubbing, of course, but until then, it was quite a hoot. Everybody laughs at the ridiculous story, relieved. Even Gloria has a smile on her face when she sits down. The feast commences. Your home finally feels warm for a moment. It wasn't so long ago the four of you couldn't even reach up to this table. The first word you said, Gloria, was gimme. Gloria first and the gimme-gimmies. Nathan used to cling to my skirt all the time, almost tearing it, and you, Randolph, you couldn't talk at all yet, but your piercing stare was so expressive it felt as if you were talking to me. Mother looks at Stefan and suddenly grows quiet. When I met Stefan, he was already 3 years old. He was so serious and a smooth talker to boot. I remember that he had a music teacher. He was too shy to play in front of me, so I used to listen from the next room. Stefan's face twitches, your elder brother rises and moves to the old harpsichord. His fingers fly gracefully over the keys. A melody fills the house, melancholy and sweet. The last note lingers in the air. The silence falls. The family is awestruck, words fail you all. Who wrote that? A nobleman from the capital? Between drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant? Your sister's cutting remark puts an end to the warm, cozy atmosphere. Stefan calmly turns to face her. No, it was I who composed this piece of music. It's called Mother. Mother rises to her feet. She would have needed help to do this just recently, but now she treads unassisted towards Stefan and draws him close. Stefan puts his arms around his stepmother's waist, then detaches himself awkwardly. May the twin gods bless you, Lydia. Wait, what? That is very uncommon from Stefan. Gloria considers this scene with thinly veiled fury in her eyes. Of course, high-born nobles like Stefan are made for the arts. They're the only ones lucky enough to have a soul and experienced inspiration. Unlike us, the low-born, we aren't supposed to feel anything but suffering, let alone express it in poetry. Everyone notices that Gloria's clutching page is filled with writings, her poems. Your sister casts a mournful glance at the family, and her eyes rest on you. If we interrupt Gloria, the family unity is going down. That is not really ideal. We can't appeal to Mother because of her relationship. And if we let Gloria read her poems, the family unity is going down anyway. So let's increase the relationship with Gloria. Stefan's relationship is going down, but then at least both of them are at 3. Let's try and keep it balanced a little bit if I cannot save the family unity anyway. You rise from your seat and speak. In your speech, you wholeheartedly support your sister. As I have done, like all along during this game actually. Gloria had the misfortune to be born a commoner, but she is still entitled to express her feeling. Why is Stefan the only one who has the right to delight Mother with his creations? Every member of her family should be equal. But what about her lot, son? Gloria is permitting herself to practice a noble activity, thus breaching the divine order. You softly explain to Mother that times have changed. Nowadays, art isn't just a pleasure for the nobles. It's also a trade plied by many commoners. More and more low-born tradespeople are taking up the pen and ink rather than the hammer. This is now their labor and their suffering. Mother lets out a heavy sigh but yields to the onslaught of your inspired speech. Emboldened by your support, Gloria steps into the center of the room. Her eyes are fixed on Father. A stranger and a bastard I am called, I am, but still I long for you to say that I'm yours and melt this icy cold that burns within my heart both night and day. My mother and my brothers are all near, but I feel cold as though we were apart, ashamed yet still compelled to make you hear. I long to hold you closely to my heart. Aww. I'm a stranger, this is my only crime. Forgive me. Oh, but mercy is forbidden. I hope you'll see, if not forgive, in time, my bitter love, both joyous and well hidden. Father stares at her in bewilderment. Gloria, Stefan springs to his feet and leaves for his chamber, slamming the door behind him. I don't feel so well. Nathan, son, please help me to my room. Mother leaves the room, leaning on Nathan's arm. The celebration is cut short. Great. We have another event here because we've grown close with Octavia. Octavia and you do not see each other very often. Sometimes, as the days wear on, you forget about your unusual liaison. But then the Archduke's daughter bursts into your life and you abandon yourselves to passion until she disappears again. Today Octavia is waiting for you at her summer home in the city. It's a cozy little villa well concealed from prying eyes by a high fence. Beyond the fence is a glorious garden. You've never seen one so beautiful in Magra. Octavia meets you on the veranda. She's wearing a light white frock that leaves her shoulders exposed. Her black hair cascades down her back. You bow to Lady Melanides. She grins and draws you towards her so that you sit down by her side. The sun is melting beyond the horizon. Octavia commands her servants to leave you alone. Tonight she's strangely pensive, barely touching her food and drink. You cautiously inquire if anything is amiss. Listen to me, Randolph. I'm at a crossroads. My father, the Archduke, is planning to send me out of Magra for a while. Apparently, in his opinion, my escapades are bound to cause trouble for our family. Octavia stands up, towering above you. Her eyes burn with a menacing flame. I'm a daughter of the great family of Melanides, an Arknian born at the peak of the world. All shall tremble before me. Isn't that so, Randolph Brante? But before you can reply, Octavia abruptly lowers her head downhearted. I'm not free, just like you, my dear human Brante. I have a duty to my family, to my blood tide, to the Empire. My whole life, all I've ever done is fulfill obligations created by others. I have no aspirations. Everything is preordained. What the world is like, how I ought to live. What my father doesn't decide for me, those two up on the peak of the shining pillar already have. Looking for a way out of this cage, it must exist. I study history and all I find are tidbits of lost knowledge. I believe that I'm not the first to try to escape the change of this world. What am I to do, Randolph? You yearn to break free of the fetters of fate just as I do. You've escaped the commoner's lot, joined the higher estate, but your new lot is just as much of a prison, isn't it? Could it really be that none of us will ever be free? Octavia looks into your eyes dolefully. You've never seen her so helpless before. Poof! I see one of the options is lose yourself in pleasure. That is very tempting, even though I have not looked at all the options yet. It is very tempting. I cannot ask for assistance. I can lose myself in pleasure, which willpower plus 10, which would be extremely handy. If I inquire about this arcane knowledge, theology goes up, which I don't really care for. Willpower goes up, which is handy. And Octavia's plus 1. And if I share my revelation, willpower goes up and elegance is plus 2. I prefer eloquence over theology, to be honest, so I'm gonna share my revelation. You put your hand on Octavia's shoulder and gesture to the blazing line of shining pillar in the sky. Flashes of your childhood experience come back to you. What you felt then was the truth. It came to you from the heavens and poured straight into your soul. It needs neither proof nor prayer, and you share your truth with your beloved. Your existence is a gift from the twin gods. You are creations of their will. Yes, all people who live in this world lack freedom, if only because they were put into existence by the will of another. This is also the most beautiful thing that could possibly exist. You're a part of God's design, so no one is ever lonely, lost, or empty. Yes, you comply with the design, but the design is a pure embodiment of the God's love for you. You've experienced it, you know it, because it is so. Octavia sneers and moves away from you. The way you describe it, this love of theirs is nothing but a violation. And we're supposed to just submit, but rejoice? You protest that it's a violation only if you fight it, if you struggle. But why struggle? The twin gods used their design to let you into their world. To allow you to live in it, to think, feel, and understand. This in itself is a blessing. Any other world would have barriers of its own, so why not accept these? Octavia looks at the shining pillar thoughtfully. There is something to what you say, but you experienced this revelation firsthand and I didn't. And to me, it all appears to be submission, as though I were a puny commoner at the feet of my master. Must I, Octavia Melanides, submit and endure? No, I'll find another way. Anyway, that's enough theology for today. Put your arms around me, Randolph. I want to savor what I have now. And with the passing of another year, I'm gonna put another cut in the video. If you're enjoying this story, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you wanna follow along. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video.